How you doing, YouTube? This is Acid Roots. I'm going to review Wiz Khalifa's Rolling Papers 2 project. Now, this is actually a double album, and I kind of figured since that's something that's been happening kind of in recent times, I'd figure I'd see what's up with it. It's been a while since I've reviewed Wiz Khalifa. I reviewed like his Mac and Devon project, and then I also reviewed the first Rolling Papers, but I haven't reviewed too much, and he has done quite a bit since like I started back in 2015. And this album came out 3 years ago, back in 2018. I remember kind of seeing some of the promotion for it, but I tried reviewing this a number of times. I know I tried reviewing this like in late 2019. And I also tried reviewing it somewhere in 2020, but I didn't like the certain singles back then. And I've been listening to this album for like the past 4 hours now, and it took me that long to kind of start deciding which songs I actually enjoyed, because at first glance I was going to give this album like a 1 or a 2 out of 10, and the score has been upped. I have found a good handful more songs that I like beyond just 3 or 4. Now it's still, you gotta understand that a double album only liking like 8 songs is still not going to be a very prevalent score and such. That just kind of happens to be a thing because there's 25 songs on here, plus the fact that a couple songs are kind of split in half, so that would actually make it more like 28 or something. But there's a fair amount of songs on here I like. I think it's warranted to get a purchase, but there's just a lot of stuff and that's just the thing. That's how most people complain about double albums, is they say normally, unless you have like a personality like Tupac or Jay-Z or something, they're going to say it's overstuffed, there's too much in there, it's redundant, it's tedious, that sort of stuff. And even Wiz Khalifa kind of falls prey to it, but he does a better job than what you might expect, especially considering that he's able to get to the fourth single and be able to do these things and at least, lightly keep up the momentum for a while. I'm eventually going to review Drake's Scorpion to see if he can do it, but I do feel like Wiz Khalifa has done a decent job. Afro Man did a better job. When we compare smoking rappers, I still feel like Afro Man's double album is better. Jay-Z, some of the double albums I reviewed recently, but this is probably better than DJ Khaled's Grateful. So that's just kind of the situation. It's not a horrible double album, but it has a ways to go. So, uh, so the first single off this project was Something New, and this kind of came out back in 2017, so this is a pretty old song, and it got some TikTok challenges. It's one of those, it was the song where you get like 5, 6, 7 people and they clap their hands and then they move off to the side and they keep doing that. So that's how I found this song, but it is a pretty good pop rap song. I felt like it's a good lead single. It's definitely something that anchors the project and shows what this would supposedly have to offer. But it's actually better than some of the singles off of Rolling Papers, because if you remember with Rolling Papers, Wiz Khalifa was a smoker. He was a definite stoner. But he knew how to chart on the radio. He knew about public relations and how to keep it kind of on the cool and that sort of stuff, so he could actually chart and reach a wider audience. And that kind of, it's interesting just because this album does that again. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. That's kind of the situation, is just being able to say such a thing. Real Rich is the second single. That kind of has Gucci Mane on there, and that's kind of more of like a classic rap, hardcore rap kind of song. It doesn't really seem like it has the intentions of charting. This It's pretty straightforward. They're just trying to be lyrical while also flexing. It's kind of a flexing song, so if you don't like the dragging your knuckles kind of songs, and you probably won't get along with it. But it's Wiz Khalifa. Normally he's not a flexer. That's kind of the thing. He's always kind of either trying to do pop or songs for the ladies or smoking songs, but he actually did flex on that song and it did well. At first I didn't like this song, but I kind of have seen the light for it. The next one is probably my favorite of the 4 singles, which is Hopeless Romantic, and that happens to be that's definitely a smoking song. I'm proud of that one just because for like a radio song that feels like something that you could actually torch up to and that sort of thing. So just forgetting the fact that occasionally songs on the radio are made for smoking, which just doesn't fit too often. I mean, the thing about all of the singles from this project is they charted nowhere near as high as they did on the first Rolling Papers. So there's no Black and Yellow. There's no any of those other songs. I don't remember the rest of the singles from Rolling Papers. I think there was like Roll Up or something like that. There's no other songs that hit like #1 or #6 on the Billboard 100 like the first Rolling Papers, but they did hit modestly. Hopeless Romantic is good. That's just a really good light one up, smoke a doobie kind of song, and that just works. I mean, that's kind of the situation. Sway Lee does a terrific job, and you should probably like this song. So but then the next one is Gin and Drugs, which is another get crunk kind of song. But the thing about that one, I didn't really like the beat sample. I mean, it seemed like it was off of a Zap song, and if you've heard the B.I.G. song, Going Back to Cali, it's the same beat as that. I didn't feel like that's like the most kind of approachable song for such a topic, Gin and Drugs, but somehow Wiz Khalifa kind of, I guess, pulls it off. It's just more about the lyrics in the song more so than about the production. And, they're just talking about getting messed up. So, I mean, that's just kind of the situation. So I suppose trying to bring such a topic to the forefront once again should be appreciated, but I think that there could have been better instrumentals to help bridge that song, definitely. But I still liked all 4 of the singles. So 4 out of 4. I would give the social score basically like the social score a 9, is because I felt like Gin and Drugs and that could have been a little bit better. But so yeah, talk about these 25 songs. That's kind of the situation. There's a lot to kind of talk about on this damn album. And this is kind of the thing, is Wiz Khalifa is like, okay, can he handle a double album? Can he fuck around and manage to pull off having so much topics, 2 discs, have the personality, have the fun with it, have the topics, have the lyricism, maintain the interest, that sort of stuff? Well, somewhat. That's just kind of the thing. I mean, for me to kind of describe some of this, I'm just going to go through a few of the highlights, kind of talk about them. So I really love the song Bootsy Bellows. That felt like one of the best smoking songs on here, and it lives up to the Rolling Papers name by just having that. That felt like you're really getting stuck in that song. I felt like It's On You was a nice kind of Bone Thugs approach with a decent topic, saying that you have to kind of control your own energy and that sort of thing. And it's kind of encouraging. I mean, despite some of the bragging and that sort of stuff that's on the album, it's a good message that's not too like cheap or something like that. I mean, sometimes they'll just say, be happy and too bad if you're not, but that's actually decent. So the 420 freestyle was interesting just because it was a freestyle. It's a good smoking song, and Wiz Khalifa can flow. I mean, he did it for the whole 4 minutes basically, and I mean, there were some moments on there I was like, yeah, I was in agreement with it. Late Night Messages is a nice song for the ladies, just to kind of keep that, so there are some extra things on here. It's not just smoking, not just kind of pop rap. I mean, there's things on here. Hopeless Romantic, Late Night Messages, Rain, songs like that kind of handle that topic. Even Something New, but those are just some ones. That's another good one, Late Night Messages. I didn't like Penthouse. I mean, I felt like that one was trying to be fancy, but the production was not quite interesting enough. Trying to think of some other ones. I didn't like Blue Hunteds. That was trying too hard to be trap. And, I mean, I suppose Wiz Khalifa could probably actually reach it, but it seems like the theme of what he was trying to do just didn't mesh well enough with it. But I did like Ocean. That was another smoking song on there. It's another real good feel kind of thing. The thing I like about Wiz Khalifa is he gets good feels. And that's kind of the situation. You feel like it just feels when you think of a situation where you listen to some of these songs, you don't have to say, well, I don't know where I would listen to this. You think, well, do I listen to this in the car? Do I listen to this in my backyard? Do I listen to this at the club? Do I listen to this, at my girl's house? Do I listen to this on the beach? Do I listen to this at a hotel? I mean, they always have like the good feels to where you just figure it out and it just feels like, yeah, this is a good. And with the theme of this project being like smoking oriented, there's a lot of times where they just have a natural. I mean, I'm not saying the whole album. There's enough room to where there could have been more room for more smoking songs, but a good portion of it at least lives up to its name. And I just feel like the feels towards it is not as if you don't want to listen to it because it feels awkward or it feels too clean or something, or too polished or something like that. It actually has a good message across there. So this is kind of the remark there. So those are just some of the ones, but I'll go ahead and list now out of the 25 songs, the 11 or 10 that I recommend to you. So all right, so Something New, Bootsy Bellows, All of the Sudden, Hopeless Romantic, Gin and Drugs, Late Night Messages, Real Rich, Ocean, 420 Freestyle, and It's On You. So that's 10. 10 songs out of 25. And I've already described some of these, but I'll kind of reach for like a couple. I was close to liking For Real, For Real. I feel like maybe if I had liked that, I might have been able to boost the score a bit. I was also close to liking Rain. Those were two almost songs. I suppose that would have been like half the project, but I just didn't quite like the production enough on Rain. If I could still get messed up and such, and weed was legal, I'd probably mess with Rain a little bit more. But this is kind of the situation. So Real Rich, some of those. I'm just trying to think of some ones. I mentioned Ocean. I mentioned 420 Freestyle, Gin and Drugs, Something New. All of a Sudden's another real good one. I don't know who the Moonlight dude is or folks are. They're a duo, but they did a real good job on All of a Sudden. Terrific. I kind of would have liked for the Bone Thugs song to fit better. The Bone Thugs and Snoop Dogg songs didn't work that well. The Chevy Woods song didn't. I felt like Juicy J should have been on this project. The title track was unimpressive. So, but yeah, this is kind of the remark, just for me to relatively kind of talk about some of these things, just to kind of say, well, I'm going to give this album basically like a 4.5 out of 10, because I might just include For Real as like the secret 11th song out of 25 that I liked. But there simply were too many other songs that just didn't quite live up to it. I mean, the problem with it was when I said that Wiz Khalifa had some good feels, there are some times when he doesn't. And it feels like if you have songs like this that are interesting, I don't know why trying to go for like the wholesome feel and trying to have like some of these records. I'm trying to think of some particular ones. I didn't like these kind of dual songs. I felt like they should have just been separate songs. There's really no point to kind of it bleeding into it when both songs are uninteresting. He did that twice, so all four of the two dual songs were both lacking. And like I said, I didn't like the trap song. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff on here that was either subpar or didn't have like the right oriented kind of feel towards it. And that's kind of the same complaint I had with Rolling Papers, was the pop rap moments, unless it had like a smoking tint to it, really came off as uninteresting and a little bit too eager. So this was kind of the thing, and it felt eager just because it wasn't necessarily, I mean, there's just not, I mean, it felt like you're either going to work or going to college with that sort of stuff, but it didn't come off as actually encouraging just because there's rappers who can do that sort of thing better. That just was kind of the thing. He just felt more at home doing like the smoking songs and kind of, uh, you know, this outgoing kind of music that he normally does. But there really was a lack of vehicle songs on here also. You would have thought that Wiz Khalifa would have done something like that, but So yeah, I mean, I did like. I mean, the songs that are good are good. So that's just what you got to understand. But I just don't understand why he couldn't have done that like another 7 or 8 more times. Is kind of the thing. I was trying to think of some of the ones that didn't really like. I mean, it gets kind of difficult because this is a 25 song album, but just a few of these, I feel like Reach for the Stars, didn't quite do it, and Be Okay, King. I mean, just listen to a few of those and you'll probably be able to tell. So there's just a difference between them. I've listed like a good chunk of this project at this point as far as like some of the highlights. It's just that there's a lot to digest, and I'd have to sit there and actually I'd be listening to this for probably a good 7 or 8 hours trying to make a list of everything. I tried to pay attention more to the songs I liked more than the reasons why I didn't like the other ones. So otherwise, I just would have been constantly. This would have taken a lot longer to get this project done. But just understand that it kind of goes half and half because you're gonna have to investigate the reasons why you like this project. You're gonna have to investigate the reasons why you don't, and because it's a double album, that just takes a lot longer. But yeah, so the social score gets a 9 just because all the singles basically hit the nail on the head. And I just would have to say, I mean, this project came off good because it has personality and charisma, but it just was spread too thin. That's the main trouble I've had with this.